Oh, hey, spoiler alert. I think I've already filmed enough. Who the bloody hell is this Martin Pariseau dude to finish the year? Finish on the Sunday, which is the day of the 31st of December, I think. Hey, I'd like to thank my ex, it's been a while, who knitted me this purple duvet cover. Speaking of exes, but not the same one, is I'm kind of 8.5 my age because I said when I got into this fake marriage, like I knew a lot of the people were fake, and I knew there was a lot of dishonesty in the people involved, including the spouse. But I didn't know till later how fake it actually was, that it wasn't really a legal wedding. But at that time, I knew being with this girl, and I knew before the first date, would either kill me or, if I survived, make me stronger. And either one was okay with me. Like I couldn't stay. I was already stronger than average, but knowing what's coming and what I was deciding to take on for the sake of the younger generation is I needed to be even stronger. I was preparing for a long-term spiritual journey of self-actualization that couldn't continue on Vancouver Island, let's say. And so I called myself born again on that day. And it's the day where I was kind of born, where, it's going to be 8.5 years. The day after Christmas in a couple of weeks. And, like just the fakeness of the people there and me being aware of this more than ever before, right? Being able to read through people's images through my understanding of the theory of HSD and how I was the grown up there. And I'm not saying there's nobody there that attempted some sort of personal development, but there's more steps backwards that likely happened afterwards, and for them, and so so like I almost came out of this a quadriplegic, which might have ended up making me even stronger and killing me sooner. So maybe that would have been the best win-win scenario. But this was respecting my ex who kept changing her mind and breaking agreements, and other people who didn't keep their agreement didn't carry the weight of what I paid for. And it was a very, very heavy, heavy latex king size mattress on my head that made my neck go totally on my shoulder because the strong guys that were being paid to move were just standing beside me and didn't do anything. And that was my favorite mattress ever, most comfortable sleep. And I think that's the last time I could sleep really, really well was that mattress. And I agreed because my ex kept changing her mind about where she'd stay, where I would go, what she would keep, what I would keep. So I eventually just did a deal where I gave her a lot of things, and then the rest that wasn't a free gift was extremely discounted, and it came up to I think I can't remember now. Yeah, I think it was just 1,000, and 1,000 was really half of the price of that mattress that she made a baby with later with a guy maybe, and so so ironically she didn't even pay for this mattress, and she kind of spread rumors that are easy for fake people to believe, right? Because and of course they don't contact me because then I would challenge them on their fake interpretation of me, and they would fear that I would challenge them on their image. So in a way, my journey of becoming stronger and self-actualizing even more, and loneliness that came with it, and aloneness kept, as I projected because I didn't want to sell my humanity away, continued, while theirs continued to devolve. But it doesn't mean I don't care about them, and it doesn't mean that a lot of people in the past, they can't stop from being bitter even though they did things wrong and I didn't. There's a lot of them that can't even. Well, there's a girl recently that I just talked to on the internet, and we didn't really ever get close. And I think she might have had a bad opinion of me for some reason, just because I fired my master's degree faculty where I met her through a colleague in there, and maybe that's it. I don't know. I didn't do anything bad to her, and I guess she doesn't remember that she had a bad opinion of me because it doesn't show. And that's rare because most people, they believe their own rumor that they spread about me just so they can not feel bad about themselves, who have stagnated but also devolved. Because when you stagnate as the world's getting worse and you need more skill sets to cope and you stagnate, you're falling behind. And I had to work hard to stay ahead in case any of my work would be taken seriously at one point. Work to make the world a better place for the people I care about, even the ones that totally hurt me. If they approached me, say, Martin, we're sorry you passed through our community or you stayed here for years, and we see what you meant now, and we would like to, have you, let's say, offer your life skills training for free. And we'll provide you a carport for your motorhome and a place to take a shower. And also we'd like to work with you, let's say, as a post-secondary institution, and give, your be the first to offer your Master of Science and to develop an ecocentric worldview or something like that, right? Like I was, man, I not only was I plagiarized a lot for just the title of my lessons, and some of it is based on the Saskatchewan New Start model and the course in life skills I took, but not all of it. But I also meet people who play a part behind back doors to not let me stay in their culture to help, and yet they take on a title that I have. And of course, they may not even want the definition of, let's say, what learning specialist is, but they'll call themselves that. And they'll ask a couple of questions about things, and they think that's enough to somehow make them the expert that I am, even though they don't even want to see the definition. And that definition is pretty strict because it involves a guarantee. It means you can observe me publicly and videotape me acting in this way. I guarantee this specialty. Can you imagine a prime minister that guarantees this as a public servant? I guarantee that I will do the best for, not the fossil fuel industry or the big banks or shareholders or my friends or my career, but, that is good for your kids and grandkids, even though it might appear to be very bad for you right now. I'll explain it. And then it's up to you if you don't care about your kids, but I will explain what decision I make and what the strategy is I use. I do this, but some people take on my titles and they claim they can do it. And of course, I can't challenge them because they won't answer or they won't show up or I can't reach them anymore. Or they'll threaten me that, hey, let it go. We're not, things are over or whatever. It's like, what? Okay. And no, I'm not trying to kind of restart a relationship with you or anything. I'm just trying to see how you're doing for the sake of longitudinal studies for my own theory, because, I am curious about my own theory. I'm not fake. I want to keep updating it and revising it. But it's also like, I was thinking about Collège Boreal, man, in the north of Quebec. No, north of Ontario, close to Quebec. And how there was a lady there, and she played the game, of this post-secondary institution, and I think she was a contractor, but she was with them a long time, and she was with them a long time because she doesn't challenge the nonsense. I mean, she'll talk about it if she trusts you, the nonsense of the administration or higher up people that may or may never go to that campus up there. And I think she also called herself some sort of learning specialist, and she talked to me about some brain damage she got from an accident or an illness or something. But even before this brain damage, when you look at something that I was working on with her, which is the Pearson published book, Canadian Concept, which is about domesticating immigrants, she still, even before her brain damage, believed it escalated in complexity. I think there's 6 volumes. And it doesn't take me long to go through and work with some students that were adults, perfecting a language of French or English or whatever, but that had a French heritage in some way that they benefited from our program. So let's say they could have been a healthcare worker or a teacher, and I was working with them in professional development and helping them. But of course, I wasn't just focusing on language. I was focusing on them doing a better job, let's say, for the kids they were with. So it's an example of me giving one-on-one professional development training. Now, I didn't stay there long because they were uncomfortable that I was wanting to offer more, programs, submitting things, or didn't agree with the nonsense of things. And the salary I got was super low. And also, I should have qualified for the strike that was going on, and I didn't, because even unions couldn't be trusted with a thinking person participating in making arguments for the strike. So, but that lady, yeah, she thought it was complex at higher levels as you work with the student going through the volumes, but the volumes were just about different themes of domestication, right, for new immigrants. So it wasn't more complex. It was just different subjects of, let's say, arriving in Canadian culture. So it was a pure book of domestication, and in a way, it was to make people fit in with the norm. It wasn't to improve our culture or to learn from their culture. It was really domestication, which devolves cultures. Now, of course, I could see that myself, but she couldn't, as a so-called learning specialist who had an entire career with, for example, Collège Boreal. So this is who I am. Like, there's a lot of places I'm curious. Some I wasn't even close enough to remember the name or interact enough with a person to actually be curious to see if my projections about, based on their psychological profile and the culture in general, would have evolved, but it's more devolved in that way since that time. I'm curious about this. So anyways, I'm going to be soon 8.5 years old, where I was surrounded, to my great awareness, by really fake people, as I was dressed really nice and wore flip-flops that were green and was in a beautiful part of Vancouver Island. And I knew, oh my God, I'm the only grown-up here who is going to continue to grow up into an Homo sapien.